Yo, what's up, guys? Okay, so today for CEH labs, I went through this lab because this lab is directly out of the book, and it's the NMAP lab. I don't really like the format that they did it in, basically because they kind of do them out of order. They just kind of show you the scans that are common, but they do it out of order. I don't want to necessarily do that. I kind of want to show you guys more of a practical reason to use it, I guess. So I'm still going to do the same scans that they do in the book, which is why you're going to see me referencing the book a lot, looking at it, because um, I do want to do the scans that they recommend that you know, but they're not going to necessarily be the scans that I personally would use all the time. Okay, so keep that in mind. But what we're going to do here is you can see here, I do have a Windows Server 2016 sitting here, and then here's my Kali box. I don't know why it just shrunk like that, but okay. So the Kali box is what we're going to do the actual scans on, but I'm going to show you guys with the Windows box. Okay, so Windows box, we'll go ahead and run command prompt. We'll just get our IP. I just started this up, so I don't know what the IP is. One sec, we'll write it down so we don't have to memorize it. It's just 23.135. Okay. All right. So we've got the IP. We see it running. I don't actually know what services are running on this. I think IIS is the only thing running on this. I can't remember. I created this box a long time ago. But anyway, so let's get right into it. Let's open it up. Open up our terminal here. All right. Hopefully that's big enough you guys can see it. But okay, so the first thing you're gonna do with Nmap in general, right, is you're just gonna say Nmap help. Okay, it used help as a target. That's not correct. So we'll just do Nmap. Okay, so Nmap in general, you just type Nmap, just the syntax. I thought there was a help. There's not. And it tells you pretty much, look, you can see every scan that you're gonna do. Okay. Now this is good to do even if you've used Nmap 100 times, just because there might be some scans that you didn't realize that you could do, or something that you didn't think of, or something like that. Now you can see here the ping scan, the SN. I personally like to use this first. It all depends on what you're doing, I guess, as well. If you know the network, there's not really a point for this, right? But let's go ahead and, so what I would do, Nmap, and then see, we'll go up, we'll check, make sure we got it. It's SN. Make sure it's lowercase because these are case sensitive, because you can see the SN here is the Xmas scans. So lowercase SN. So we're going to just do Nmap, tech SN, and then we're going to do our IP. So it's 192.168, and then it was 23.135. All right, and all this is going to do, okay, boom. All it did is ping it and say it's up. Now, the reason this is important, if you guys don't know, is if you're on a large-scale network, you're going to see there might be hundreds of hosts. You don't know their IPs. This will give you their IPs for one. So what I would normally do is Nmap, and we'll just do the SN again, and then we'll just do 192.168.23, and then we'll just do .0 on a 24. So that's gonna scan the whole thing. Okay. Boom. So host is up. We've got a host at 23.2, host at 23.135, host at 23.254, 131, and 133. 135, that's us right there. So what this will do is tell you all the hosts that you have up on the network, and now you can begin scanning those hosts if you wanted to. That's why I like to do the ping scan first. You don't have to do it that way. There's other ways to identify different hosts on a network, but for some reason the CEH, that's the last scan they teach you. Not really sure why they do it that way, because it's the least information you're going to get from the scans. Instead, they have you doing like a bunch of scans to gather information, and then they teach you the simple one. So I don't know why they do that. Again, just make sure you know this. Basically, you just need to know what the tool does more than necessarily the exact syntax for the test itself. But I definitely recommend Nmap's one of the best tools out there. You can actually put Nmap results directly into Metasploit, which will find you exactly the exploits you're looking for. So it's a huge tool. Okay, so I'm not going to preach about Nmap. You guys should have heard about it by now, and I've done a lot of Twitch streams with it and things like that. So what we're going to do here is now that I showed you the ping scan, now you're going to start looking for it. So What I do personally, if I have time and I'm not worried about being caught or anything like that, I do an NMAP, and then I do attack A for all, and then I'll do attack P, and then another attack that's saying all ports as well, and then I'll do a T4, which is basically how fast you want to run the scan, how intrusive you want to be in a sense. And 4 out of 5 is pretty intrusive. This scan will get you caught, but again, if you're doing it ethically, if you're doing it legally like you should be, unless you're doing a completely like, from the outside pen test, this should be a good scan for you. Again, some places the whole point, even on a pen test, is to not get caught, but this isn't that case. So now we'll just do 192, 168, and then 169, 23, 135. Okay. And this, you'll notice this one will take a little bit longer, okay, because it's scanning 1 through 65,000 ports, okay? So it does take time. That's fine. We've got time. Now, we'll go over to the Windows server real quick, and we'll just do, I don't really know, like I said, services.msc. Let's see what's running. Because I don't know if IIS is running or not. It doesn't look like I actually have IIS running. Maybe I do. I didn't see it, but I'm also just kind of scanning real fast while this runs. But yeah, I didn't see anything crazy, so I thought I had IIS on here, but I could have just had it. Cancel that. I could have just had it. There's IIS, but I thought I just might not have it persistent, but I thought I uploaded it here. Okay, so it says online, so we can just do this. See if it's actually online. It should just be the default IIS page. It shouldn't be anything. But I'll show you guys. The main reason I put IIS on this server initially was to kind of show you guys the. I was gonna kind of build a mock website that we could use to actually access, but okay, so it is actually used. Now this is a real website, but this is a copy of the website, okay? So keep that in mind. This isn't an actual website. You can't go to that IP and then this and expect a website to pop up, okay? Just keep that in mind. It's just a copy. So here we go. So it came out. All right, so 65,533 ports are either up either down or filtered, okay? So we've got port 80. Okay, it's an open port, Microsoft IIS, so it tells us right there what's going on. Tells us that's the name of it too, the HTTP track website copier, which is what I use to copy that website. HTTP methods potentially risky. Trace. Okay, so you're getting a lot of information here. It's telling you the version of IIS. It's telling you pretty much a lot. Title. I don't have a title set, so that's not that uncommon. The fact that it says IIS and Microsoft basically tells us that we're running a Windows box. So even though it says OS scan results may be unreliable, we're pretty much certain that it's a Microsoft. I mean, we know that it's a Microsoft Windows Server 2016, but we can pretty much go off of what's running, the service running, that we're guaranteed what it is, okay? And we see that the trace route's just one hop, which makes sense. So there's a lot of information in this, and that's a really good scan. It'll tell you everything. Now again, keep in mind with firewall and routers and things like that have built-in firewalls, these can be blocked. That's where you're going to do more slow comprehensive scans. That's a little bit out of the scope of this specific video, mainly because there's entire NMAP tutorials that you can do. You can spend weeks on NMAP itself. You just need to, for the CEH, and that's what I'm trying to stick to, is this base knowledge so that you can build upon it. For this, you need to understand what the tool can do, what it can give you, and things like that, and what kind of information you can get from it, okay? So those are the scans that I personally recommend for people beginning with Nmap. The ping scan to obviously see what's up, and then the TAC A is for all. This will get you familiar with the type of information that you're going to be able to get from Nmap. Because, like I said, if you're doing this the way you should have permission on all these, or they should be VMs that you're controlling, right? Like for instance, this Windows server, I'm controlling it. So you should be doing this on your own systems or someone that gave you permission. So with that said, we'll go ahead and start kind of going through some of the other scans. So this one, and I'll show you guys. And if you guys have ever used ZenMap, some of these may be familiar to you, but you just have to know the command. So this is lowercase s, capital T, and then we're going to do the time of 3, so it's going to be a little bit slower. Then TAC A, so the all again, and then we'll do the same thing. Now, sorry guys, I got a little bit of a cold here. So now the ST is just a TCP connect scan. So we're most likely we'll probably get the same results. Honestly, I don't know that this will be any different. But basically what this does, if for those of you that don't know, there you go, there's your results. Pretty much the exact same results. For those of you that don't know what a TCP connection is, so TCP, the way it connects, it sends a SYN packet to you. So you would send a SYN that's to your destination. They would receive it, and they would send back a SYN back to you and an acknowledgement saying, "We hear you, and we're acknowledging that you want to connect to us." And then you're going to send back an acknowledgement, and that closes the three-way handshake. So it's a SYN, SYN-ACK, ACK. Okay, that's important to know if you get deeper into this stuff. It's SYN, SYN-ACK, ACK. Okay, and basically those are flags, but it sends those. It has to send those, and they have to be in that order in order to complete that connection. Once you complete that connection, you guys have basically for lack of a better word, a tunnel that now you guys are communicating with each other, and you don't lose connection to that host, and you receive packets, and you know those packets are going to your hosts. Now, the whole point of a pen tester is to get around that type of stuff, but keep in mind that's the point of a connection, or a TCP connection, excuse me. So this, all it does is sends it to each port, says, "Can I connect?" And that port either says yes or no. If it doesn't respond, it moves on. If it sends back a null or reset or a fin or anything like that flag, it's not going to connect. So the only port it could actually connect on was port 80. Makes sense, same port. So that gives us the same information as this one. The only difference is this one here, I didn't specify that it was a TCP connection, but you have to specify UDP, so it should have done the same thing. Now, the other one we're gonna do is what they call the Xmas Scan, and this one's a little bit more again out of the scope of this class, but I'll explain to you how to do it. But basically, some of these scans are kind of old. So, and what I mean by old is they're famous scans or profound scans that everybody knows what they do, but they used to work, and now they're kind of built, like computers kind of progressed and people understood the dangers, so they don't work as well anymore. Just like a stealth scan on Nmap isn't very stealthy anymore. It used to, instead of connect, it used to send a SYN, and when you send back the SYN-ACK, it never sent back the acknowledgement, so the connection was never made, and that was supposed to be stealthy because you never actually connected. Nowadays, computers kind of progress past that, and they kind of realize like they still know we're trying to connect. So keep that in mind when you're doing these. Like, just because it says stealth scan doesn't mean it's genuinely stealthy anymore. But anyway, so this here is the Xmas Scan with aggressive, so T4, it's aggressive timing. But basically what this does is it doesn't do the whole complete connection like a regular connection does. Basically what it's gonna do is we'll see if it gives us the results. So okay, so let's see. Yeah, so nothing. So basically what this does is it sends different flags instead of the SYN, SYN-ACK, ACK. It sends, if I remember correctly, it's urge and push flags, I believe it is. and basically goes off the results of what it gets. Okay, so there's certain responses that are ordinary if the port is open, and there's certain responses that are ordinary if it's closed. You can see here that it is saying the host is up, and it only scanned 1,000 ports. Now I just know for a fact that it scanned port 80 because that's one of the most common ports. So it didn't get any results. So that's a scan, for instance, where if you ran that, you wouldn't have actually got the result you wanted, but sometimes you will get other results. So it's a good scan to know because you can get results that you didn't get with the TCP connection, but you also sometimes won't get the results you want. So keep these in mind because every host is going to be slightly different. The scans that you use can give you and yield you different results. So keep that in mind. It's important to know that there's not one scan that's going to go, yep, this gives me everything I want, right? So, excuse me, man. So this is the UDP scan that they want you to know. This one's pretty basic. If you, like I said, if you do the regular Nmap syntax, and we can scroll up to see it, it'll show you it's SU, or is it SU UDP scan. If you guys don't know the difference between TCP and UDP, TCP is that connection, UDP is connectionless. So what that means is basically you can keep receiving information and getting information from them even though you might drop packets, right? It doesn't have to be sequential, and it doesn't have to have that connection. They can just be giving you packets. It's like watching Netflix when the audio goes out or the picture kind of gets blurry or whatever. You're dropping packets, but the connection but you keep going. It's going to keep going. So this is a different type of packet. It's going to have a different type of flag and everything. So sometimes, so it has us doing T5, which is just very aggressive. Okay, that's fine. But sometimes you're going to get results from this that you didn't expect because you didn't know that it accepted UDP, right? So I would assume that I don't think that has any UDP ports open. The IS, I don't know that because, like I said, the only thing I've done on that server, on that mock server, is okay. So 137 UDP net BIOS. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't even know that was open. It's open by default, but I'm saying I didn't know with that 2016 server. It's the whatever standard evaluation edition or whatever. I didn't know what comes default on it. So the net BIOS is open by default. Interesting. Okay, not a ton of information there, but it gives us the information that that port is open. It's a attack vector if we wanted to go that route. So that's interesting. Now, one thing, let's see. So now one thing we can do is this is another scan specified to the port we want. So this is something that you guys can do. This is just a ping scan, but you can see we're going to specify it to port 80. So let's say you're doing a whole range of hosts, right? Like let's say you're doing thousands of hosts, or even tens of thousands if you really wanted to. Most people don't use Nmap for that large scale. There's other tools, but for CEH, this is what they want you to know. So let's say you just want to see if anyone has port 80 open, right? This is just going to ping port 80. That's all it's going to do. And it's going to say, they got another flag in here too. Let's see. Yeah, so it looks like that's pretty much all they're going to have us do. Is they just want to ping port 80 to see if it, yeah, they're using a whole range of domain. I just have the one server running. I'm not going to give you guys, we can do the whole thing like we did before, but it's not going to make a much difference. We've already seen what ports are open. So we'll just do 0 to 24 again. That'll scan the whole subnet. Now keep in mind, the 24 is just a reference, or basically just a way for the computer to read and scan the entire subnet. You can also do like a range. So you could do like 192.168.23.1 and then put a TAC and then say 192.168.23.155. You can put a range in there. It doesn't have to be the entire subnet. So we'll go ahead and do that. So all this is going to do is scan. We'll go back up here to show you. It was already done. So where was it? Okay, so here's our PN, treats all hosts as up. So all that's going to do is it's not going to try and detect if that host is up. We're just going to pretend it's up and scan everything on it anyway. If there's nothing there, it's still going to try. So that's not really a big deal. The zombie host or probe port idle scan, that it wants me to throw that in there too. I don't think it's that important, but you can see here all it's telling us is they're up on 80, host is up, but the 80's not open. Okay, 80's up. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So you can see it's pretty interesting. You actually do get a little bit of information. You do get the VMware, even though it's not like we didn't request it to try and guess anything, but we do get that. So these are the basic scans, guys, that you need to know for CEH specifically. And these are the ones directly out of the book. The first two I showed you, the ping scan, it is in the book, but it's at the end. I don't know why it shows you at the end, because it's kind of like host discovery, so it's like the first thing you do. But anyway, and then the second scan I showed you guys with all the ports and everything, that's not actually in the book. That's just something I think everyone should know how to do. And then all the rest of them I took directly out of the book. Some of them are a little antiquated, a little outdated, and there's better ways to do them, I guess. But some of them are mainly, in my opinion, I think they want you to know them so that you can mess around and try them yourself, see if they work. If they don't, try a different one, etc. Really get an Nmap, get some VMs, and get an Nmap and start messing around. Open up ports on, like, let's say you had this Windows server going. Open up some ports and try and scan for them. Mess around with them. Try and set up the firewall and see if you can get around it. Things like that. So that's what I think they want you to do. I definitely think Nmap's one of the best tools out there. Again, guys, if you have any comments, any questions, anything you want me to show you, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Hit that like button. I'm going to keep uploading these CEH labs. If you want me to dig into something, let me know, and I will do a different playlist. But the CEH labs is a huge amount of labs, so I want to try and keep going with them and try and get them all done. So that way, if someone can't afford the books or can't afford the classes that are very, very expensive, you can just practice the labs here and get the concepts, get the ideas. So let me know what you guys think. Keep watching them, keep liking them, and I'm going to keep trying to post them. So thanks, guys.